Hi, I'm Maverick O'Sullivan. As a kid, and even to this day, I've always been very curious. People would tell me, don't go over there. Why? What's over there? Don't touch that. This? Why? What's it do? So I quickly got labeled a troublemaker. Being the perfectionist that I am, I'm like, okay, I'll be the best damn troublemaker out there. Yeah. Because you know what happens when you're the best damn troublemaker out there? Parents tell their kids, stay away from that kid. Why? Because he is the best damn troublemaker out there. At least that's how I imagine the conversation went. I wouldn't know because the kids didn't socialize with me. When kids don't hang out with you, you don't get socialized. And you don't learn social norms, social cues. And when I learned how to spit, because I lacked all of this, I thought it was a superpower. Now hold on. Think about this. You don't see people doing it regularly. I was just a little kid, learning new things, ever curious. I learned how to spit. I thought it was so cool. So one day I found out it's not a superpower. I got thrown off the bus for it. And when you get thrown off the bus, it's even less socialization, and it's a downward spiral from there. Also with timeout. You get put in timeout, no socialization. They put me in timeout a lot. So I'd occupy myself. Sit on your hands. Cross your legs. Quiet. They did everything short of tying me to the chair. There's nothing to do here. That's the point. You're supposed to sit there and think about what you've done. Oh, I will. Watch out what you wish for. I'm planning an encore. And that is how you end up with the best damn troublemaker out there. So, I've never really been shy. There was one point in time when I was with my family at church, and I saw this girl scribbling on one of those things where you slide the bar and it erases it, and you go back to writing on it and stuff. She was going to town on that thing, right? I'm the kind of guy, if I have something nice to say, I say it. You know, we need more of that. So, you know, I tap her down on the shoulder. I'm like, you know, you can tell she's going to be a surgeon by her signature. He's like, I go. He laughs. The mom laughs. The priest gives us a nasty look. But I thought about it. There actually is a study linking our handwriting to aspects of our personality. I looked it up. It's called graphology. I thought about it more and I realized, look, I actually had a bit of a graphologist in me when I was a little kid. Like, I remember how I could tell by this girl in my class, I could tell by the way she signed her first name with my last name that she had a crush on me, right? Because I was smart, I was a clever kid, I was a graphologist. Unfortunately for me, her father, who works at that school, he must have taken graphology courses because he figured it out too. Needless to say, him and I did not get along very well. And he worked at that school, he had playground duty too. And one particular instance I remember, I was on the playground with some kid bumped into a tree, some sand or something went down the back of his shirt. He's like, what was that? I go, it was a spider. He freaks out, he's jumping around like a monkey. We're all laughing, and this guy I mentioned comes over, that girl's father. What's going on? So I tell him, no big deal, right? And he goes, say you're sorry. What did I do? He says, you lied. Lying is wrong. I'm like, I'm not sorry. And he says, Let me put it this way, either you apologize or you get detention. So I take a moment to kind of grasp this. And then I realize what he's asking me. Oh, you want me to lie again? Go to the principal's office to be a wiseacre? That's the only thing I ever got sent to the principal's office for. Well, except for one other thing. We'll get to that. Always for being a wiseacre, though. I didn't even know what that was. This nice old lady, Mrs. White, she'd always greet me. Hi, why are you sent here this time? I know as much as you at this point. Just tell me what happened. And so I would. And she'd understand, she'd interpret it well. She was one of the few, she was one of the few adults who really listened to the kids at the school. That made a big difference. But she listened to what happened, and she's like, go ahead and enjoy the rest of recess. So I would. I went back out, and that guy comes up to me. Did you really go to the principal's office? Dude, would I lie? Go to the principal's office to be a wise guy? We just talked about this. We just talked about this. Alright, so it wasn't always wiseacre. Sometimes it was wise guy. But they quickly stopped that after a very confusing Christmas pageant. Yeah, I know you brought gifts for the baby Jesus, but you have to go to the principal's office for being wise guys. That's the rule. Right? Right? I'm glad I stood up for truth on the playground. Because false compliments don't work. Even real compliments. People will pick and choose how they want to interpret what you say. And spoiler alert, it's usually wrong. But Mrs. Finkel, in the Bible, a fat sow is worth a lot. Two of you could buy a 13-year-old girl. Wiseacre. Alright. I'm not sure how she found that offensive. But I wasn't socialized. Even today it doesn't work. I didn't call you a bitch. I said you were acting like one. If anything, it's a tribute to your acting skills. Because far be it from you to be a bitch. See? I don't know. Alright, I'm not really a mean guy. Most of the time, I'm just confused. To some people, that doesn't matter. To some people just want to be mad. One of these people was my lunch lady, who also lived across the street from me. Her name was Mrs. Mealman. I kid you not. Lunch lady Mealman. She did not like me. Always looking for a reason to be upset at me. But I remember one time, my favorite encounter with her, actually, I got in from recess. It was a hot day and everything. I grabbed some chunk of napkins and I'm wiping myself off with them and blowing my nose and throw that away. She comes up to me. She's like, "That was really disgusting." I'm like, "Yeah, it was." She's just looking at me, angry. I'm trying to understand, like, why she's upset. I'm like, did you want it? Go to the principal's office for being a wiseacre. I was a straight shooter, and considerate too. Like, it's not my fault I was raised in a secluded environment, a predominantly white Catholic school. Like, I didn't realize I was being offensive one time when I complimented a Hispanic lady on her tan, because I hadn't known any Hispanic people before that moment. I got in trouble all the time for not having my priorities straight. That was the term. Not having my priorities straight. I'd be like, teacher, the fat kid fell on the stairs, and we don't say that. That's offensive. I thought, like, broken bones were a big deal, but broken feelings, that's more urgent to matter, Teacher, the black kid is being bullied, and we don't say that. That's offensive. This was the 90s when you had to say African American even if it was a Jamaican exchange student. I never really grasped that. I'm trying to help, but apparently I was the bully. But one day I finally got my priorities straight, right? Go figure, it's the day when one of these special needs kids ends up getting out unsupervised. He's running towards traffic. Teacher, the right, that is not the word I'm supposed to use. What is the term that I'm supposed to, and she's just, what? It's like, honk honk, it's like, okay, they missed him, he's okay. She's like, what the, she comes back, why didn't you say anything? You know, I didn't want to offend anyone. Go to the principal's office for being a wiseacre. Despite my best troublemaker in the world status, I think I had gone global. Anyway, despite that, I was actually an all-A student. And go figure, even that got me in trouble. I remember that one day the teacher's like, so I have a report that some of you managed to get and memorize the answers to the test. Now, if you come forward, this is your chance to go forward. There won't be another chance. I'm like, finally my chance for bragging rights. I stand up, I'm like, I am just that good. Then you get a 0 on the test. But since you came forward, we're not going to kick you out of school. I thought the point of testing was to see that we memorized the answers. Go to the principal's office for cheating and being a wiseacre. Dealing with that was bad enough, but my dad would convince me that if I didn't get all A's in my classes, I was going to end up homeless. And some of my classes revolved around Catholicism, so apparently God was also grading me. I was paranoid that colleges would end up turning me down for how much I knew about Christianity in the 4th grade. That's how much they had brainwashed me. So it ended up being traumatic to me when my health and science classes conflicted with my religion classes, which happened a lot. I remember them telling us that abstinence was the best way to avoid pregnancy. And I'm just like, we just had a discussion about a virgin giving birth, and that this whole virginity thing was important to her having this baby. And it was at that moment that my teacher realized that all present wiseacres were due for a trip to the principal's office. I am so confused, and I'm now going to miss the rest of this class, and then I'm going to end up homeless. My classes weren't consistent, the adults weren't consistent, the locker combination wasn't consistent. I don't know. Anyway, moving forward, I once heard this lady say with a southern drawl, "You must be I.O. cotton picking mine." I thought, that is a great way to call someone crazy. And it doesn't make any sense, so it sounds that much crazier. So I say this at school, kids laugh, adults laugh, everything's going well, until one day I say it to the custodian there, and I get in trouble. Okay, Mom and Dad, don't call adults crazy, it's disrespectful. No, what's the fact that he's African American have to do with it? What's racism? So after a long lesson about cotton picking history, I realized I was racist before I even knew the difference. Remember that thing about the Hispanic lady? Yeah, I didn't know. And they're like, it's okay, you didn't know, now you do. You get a pass. That was the term they used. You get a pass. How white is that? Apparently they still left out some key things, because a few months later I got in trouble for accusing a teacher of discriminating against my rich Wiseacre heritage. So they tell me, go back to school, have a nice day, don't be racist. You know, usual white people talk. Anyway, so I figure I'm educated now. I got this, you know, like I know these things, I understand them. What could go wrong? Next week, I'm doing open reading. The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. This kid had a dirty, racist mouth, right? But you know what happens when you come to a word you're not supposed to say. You know, it's different for everyone. When some kids get to that word, they get it out of their system. Suddenly develop a stutter and remix that word. Wicked, 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 this is how I say that word. Some of them start off kind of, you know, coy, testing the waters, humming out that first letter. Or, you know, like they're not sure what to expect. Like, you know, it's a trap. Yeah, that was my life though. I was worse. I was used to everything being a trap. You read everything else. You don't say the word, and you read everything after it. No problem. And then the teacher goes, no, 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 you missed something. Go back. Well, maybe she doesn't realize what I missed. Maybe. Okay, so I'll go slower for her benefit, and then get to the word and stop. I was a kid. I didn't know how to condescend. But in retrospect, I see why when I got to that word, well, she's about had it with me. She said, go ahead, say it. The gauntlet has been thrown. Like, I have to pick that up. So, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna get in trouble either way. If she wants me to say this word, oh, I'm gonna say the word. I'm gonna hookin that word at her. She is not gonna know what hit her. Yeah. Alright, so I get ready. And before I say it though, I do what any educated white person does. Any white person who understands these issues. I do one of these. Alright. I take a deep breath, and the custodian walks by at the wrong moment. No excuses. What the? We just talked about this. We just talked about this. That was the one time I went to the principal's office for something other than being a wiseacre. Thank you. We just talked about this. We just talked about this.